Okay, continuing in our series about band wheels, wanted to show something that's important on the band wheels and how it affects blade life. This is about, like I said, band wheels. We were talking about band wheels, but we want to talk about how it affects the blade life. And band wheels have a crown. I'm laying this up here just so you'd know how I'm doing it with a pen, but you need a straight edge or something. And you can see there is crown. There's actually a little bit of a hump. And the reason that is so that the blade will track properly. And if I mentioned belted wheels earlier, you've got to have a rounded belt for it to track properly on that, or to be the best anyway. And if your blade is not tracking properly, it will cause you problems and it'll shorten your blade life. Years ago, we thought we would try to run these wheels with a flat and make them flat, and we didn't understand why. The difference was we would get it on, and this will help you on your mill at some point as well, I'm sure. But we put this on a brand new mill, and we began running. We would track the blade out and we'd get it running right where we wanted, and then we'd start in the cut and it might run forward. We get out of the cut and it's running way out on the band wheel, or it might run back. I mean, it would never sit in one spot. It would go forward or back, and that's bad on your blade. You need that thing to be stable and stay in one point, and that's why you put that crown in the top of that wheel, and it'll stay in place then. Without that, it will move around and it'll cause your blade to jump off. If you've had your mill for a few years, and I don't care if this is belt or steel, if you've had it for a few years and you start running blades and you can't get them to stay stable, it's because that needs crowning more, or the belt is worn out, something to that effect. There was a company at one time, I think they've changed. If they keep a flat, totally flat wheel, they have to put a flange on the back here. And if you're running with a flange behind the blade, that means that blade is going to run up against it, and as it's rolling around with that blade, it builds heat and friction up in the back of the blade, and that will cause you damage to the blade, and that'll cause your blade life to shorten as well. So that's why crown is put in the wheel, so the blade will track and stay stable while you're cutting. Another thing that comes into play that we talk about sometime is the blade or the wheel alignment on the mills. And it's important, and I'm just going to speak about it. We do have other videos that talk about it, but it's important if you have a band wheel. This one's kind of heavy. If you're tilting forward or backwards or straight up, and that affects how your blade goes into the cut. Every mill's a little bit different, or every manufacturer's a little bit different. And as you saw, if you can't control that blade with your roller guides, then the tilt of this wheel will help you. If you've adjusted that thing down and it's still trying to rise up, then I would move the wheel back just a little bit. If you're going into it, it's always trying to rise, and you're trying to hold it with your roller guides or your guides that you have, and it won't hold, tilt it forward just a little bit. It's nice if you can put a dial indicator up there, but just a little bit, and that makes that blade go in that cut straight away, parallel with the bunk of the bed back there. And if it's rising on you continually, that heats up the blade, and heat is also another enemy to the blade. Any friction that builds in that blade begins to slowly break it down, and when enough builds into it, it breaks, whether it's just going around the wheel or rubbing against something, or just the friction of trying to rise and you're holding it down all the time. You want that blade to stay in that cut.